All right. Good morning, everybody. Today's shir is being sponsored by Israela and Stephen Perlich. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a very tough job, Rabba. I say all these Jewish names. Perlich, on the yard side of his father, Binyamin, Berib Shmuel, Benjamin Perlich, Allah Shalom. The Shalom should have an aliyah. The next sponsor is guess. I give you one guess. Kalman from the Five Towns. Hi, Rebelli. In memory of my father, Menachem Mendel, everybody knows his name, Balpen, who he is and where he is. Menachem Mendel ben Simcha, God survived, Israeli warrior, Talmud Chacham. The night before his passing, this is a new Chiddush. He recited by heart a Sukkah from Baba Mitzio. That's Choshev. As it relates to today's Daf. Today's Daf, he says, I don't know. After you mention my something sponsorship, after you turn the page, the Aleph Amud Aleph, I just heard this during my daily YouTube. I hired to sponsor for real, but that's not how it works. If I say it and then you sponsor, I give the money back. That's not how it works. It brought back last summer's funeral eulogy. Me and my brother Simcha gave. Because we discussed yesterday, crying at a hesped. My dad didn't need our eulogy, nor the tears that we shed. A result of him really go straight to the world to come. But I'm sure it meant something to him listening to us. Looking so forward to the Five-Town Siyum. Please let people know how to reach out to us. How do you reach out to Kalman? There's a brand new mdydirectory.com. You can go on there. Go to our website, merkazdafyomi.com. New website. Merkaz with a C. merkazdafyomi.com. The whole directory is there. Over 100 locations. Fancy barbecue, including steaks. They even have, he writes here, I'm not kidding, tables. You won't have to walk around with your steak in your hand. Swimming. Separate swimming, etc. Please reach out to me, to us. No cost of admission. Unlike those guys from Borough Park charging an arm and a leg. No, I'm kidding. No, chas v'shalom. No cost of admission. By the way, I'm just I would suggest to you guys, because people are calling up the Borough Parkers, could I bring my 6 kids in it? I recommend adults only, personally. I don't know, unless those kids are part of the Chabura. On another note, please try to do some kind of thing, selling baseball caps, t-shirts, bracelets. I know I'm not the only one who would love this, especially for the Siyum. It would be a great fundraiser, also a way to promote the Daf. Case in point, the Thank You Hashem folks get a lot of publicity from the merchandise. Kids are merch. He wants us to do merchandise. Kalman from the Five Towns, Yishkoyach. Money will be sent back. If you want one of these, this is an ad for the upcoming Masechta. Join us for the Masechta. It's busy, it's geschmack, it's nice. Good pictures of the Olam, Irma Bet Shemesh. You can go on our website, merkazdafyomi.com, and you just click right over there. It's how to get another Yid to be involved. Okay? The boy said, email. Wow, it's already 7:19. How does that happen? You just need to forget the 5 minutes for emails, 5 minutes for sponsorships. Our dear friend Barak Schechter, who was walking around one day in a supermarket, and missionary number 1, recruiter par excellence, Rabbi Yeshua Ehrenpreis, approached him and said, hey, come to the Daf Yomi. He said, get out of my face. I don't know if he said in those words. And then they bumped into each other again in the supermarket, and he said, come to the Daf Yomi. And eventually, he came to the Daf Yomi. And listen to this email. For your info, I have yet since 9th grade enjoyed Gemara when I had my own private Rebbe. You see, the whole 9th grade, I was failing Gemara miserably to the point, at March, the school let me know that if I failed for the year, that I had to do summer school in 3 weeks, whatever. You can imagine, no 15-year-old wanted to miss a summer upstate at the bungalow colony. So we hired an amazing Rebbe from Crown Heights, and he came over twice a week. And boy, oh boy, did I listen, learn, study, pass quizzes and tests, participated in class. He was the best student ever. I wouldn't say I aced those tests, but 80s. I got 80 on my final. My report came 2 days later, and the Rebbe failed me. From an average in the 20s pre-tutor all the way to 64.2, I just didn't get to 65 to pass the year. These Rabbeim, I'm telling you, wow. Ooh, they're going to have to talk. They're going to have to answer somebody. The principal backed up the teacher and I guess was policy. No, he got a 64.2 and not a 65. He has to do summer camp. He worked his whatever. He worked. Too bad. It was made clear while the evaluator was admirable to calculate just that. He couldn't bump me up to 65. I was dejected. Felt like the biggest zero to hit the earth. I never wanted to look at a daf again. I left yeshiva. I'll spare you any potential tears by stopping there. Fast forward 30 years or so. Some guy convinces me to check out the Daf Yomi. 30 years! I joined the Daf and you, Rebelli, reintroduced me to Gemara. Who in a million years would have thought, I remember clearly, Barak came on during Chalamayid, because we did a nice party on Chalamayid, the breakfast, the eggs, and he refused to look in the Gemara. I remember that first day. Who in a million years would have thought I'd wake myself up daily to joining Marsha? Yet I love it. Oh, enjoy the learning, the family surrounding it. Eli, you gave me a new shot at Gemara. While I missed all those years where my peers learned it daily, I still feel proud to participate in this year. Okay, so Barak. Yes, he missed 30 years. It's not a big deal. Listen to this guy. Yesterday, I got this from Bert Katz. I've been listening to the full daily on YouTube. We must be related. My father-in-law, Alav Shalom, was the first cousin to Stefanskys and two Rakovskys. This is a very short email. Listen to this line. I started with the full daf at over 90 years old. Over 90 years old. So Barak, I don't know how old you are, you're in your 40s, big stink. Got another 50 years of Gemara learning, it's unbelievable. All right. Oh, I got a couple of things to say today. I got to wipe these tears away. It's mamish. Guys in yeshiva, Rebbe says the wrong thing, does the wrong thing. The guy leaves the fold, bye-bye for 30 years. I mean, he left the fold, I don't know how long, but the Gemara for 30 years. Look at this. We'll take that tear and we'll ship it up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All right. I don't know, tears that from we learned about the 6 types of tears. So is this a tear of Avelos or this is a tear of Simcha? I don't know. Maybe it's a tear of Simcha. So, Rabbi, I have a tremendous announcement to make. This Siyum is going to be unreal. Listen to who we have. Every year for the last 20 years, I think it is. It must be close to 20 years. I watch the Tisha B'Av Chavetz Chaim Heritage Foundation program. It's a phenomenal program. They bring the best speakers. They have Rabbi Pesach Krohn, they have Rabbi Yisachar Friend, they have Charlie Harari. From those names, who do you think we're getting to speak for us? For us! Is it Charlie Harari or is it Rabbi Yisachar Friend? It's both of them. Both. The 2 superstars in America are going to speak for us. 10 minutes and like 15 minutes. Not long drushes. So, Chaparine, bring your friends. It's going to be unbelievable. And we're going to have dozens of cool clips from just the island, from all over the world who sent in. We have 60 clips already. Just people talking for 1 minute. Bam, bam, I'm from so-and-so. This guy's singing a song. This guy's dancing on his head. Beautiful. No, great stuff. All right. So, let's jump into it. Zok De'eli Gemara.
Here's a bit for you, Eli. Charlie is Barry Schleifer's nephew.
Ooh, Barry Schleifer. You see, we're all connected. And why do I like Charlie Harari so much? He's a clean-shaven guy. He's a lawyer, and he knows his stuff, and he refuses to be called a rabbi. I love the guy. Guy's geschmack, right up our alley. He'd fit right into our shir. All right, we're holding Daf Kufnum Gimelom Beis, like 10 lines from the bottom. Omar Rami Bar Chama. Rami says, Hamechamer acher be'emte b'Shabbos b'shogi chayav chatos b'meizel chayav skila. Mechamer is a very famous melacha. We don't really know what it is that much. We didn't discuss it. But it comes up a lot in Shas. Lav de mechamer, lav de mechamer, lav de mechamer. Why? Because as we're going to see, there's a three-way machloikis. What are you chayiv on this mechamer? Mechamer, chamar, a donkey. Mechamer means to make the donkey walk. You call it and it comes towards you. Is this a d'oraisa? I'm making it carry on Shabbos. I'm doing hoitzah. I'm doing, just like you're not allowed to carry. It says, Ato, vincho, vitecha, avdecha, v'amoscha, v'hemtecha. V'hemtecha. You are mechuyev on your animal that shouldn't be mechal Shabbos. Is it d'oraisa? Or is it the Rabbanan? Or nothing? Let's see. Not nothing. But it's so weak, perhaps, that there's no punishment at all. Wow, I gotta calm down. I'm still shooken up from that. Maybe I didn't read it well enough. He sent me a text. There's a text, not even an email, text. He wanted to tell me. 30 years. So, Rami Bar Chama says this is Issa Deraisa, like carrying, like shechting, like anything else. Calling your animal, you're not doing anything. All you do is, you whistle to it and it comes to you. Issa Deraisa, that if you do it by mistake, chatos. You do it on purpose, skila, kares. My timer. What's the reason? Okay, so the Gemara skipped a couple of words in between. The point is, ata, and then we're going to skip all the words, you, your son, your daughter, the evet, behemtecha. Behemtecha dumi yedidei, animals just like yourself. Mahu b'shoigeg, chayav, chatos, b'mezid chayav skilo. So just like you, if you do something by mistake, you chayav chatos, b'mezid chayav skilo. You're in the same pasuk. You're a couple words apart from the animal. You have the same exact thing. Omar Rava, shtei tshuvois badavar. Shtei tshuvois over here usually means I'm going to take everything you said. I'm going to ask a question on each part of it, not just two questions. Tshuvois is a question, not an answer. I have two questions on what you said, or an answer that's going to be a question. But on the shagig part that is chayiv v'chatos, and on the mezid part that is chayiv misa, shtei tshuvis b'davar. Chada d'chsiv Torah achas yelochem la'oisa b'shgaga. You see the word la'oisa. You have to do, the Torah says. Where? By avodah zarah. There's one Torah, and we had this in the Masechta. There's one rule, one Torah, one rule for all shagig in the Torah. Anytime you do something inadvertently, there's one rule. And it says la'oisa. You have to do it. You can't just have your animal do it. And if you do it on purpose. All Averis is like Avodah Zarah. Ma Avodah Zarah, the Avodah Maisa B'Gufei, just like Avodah Zarah, you are doing it with your body. Achanami ad the Avodah Maisa B'Gufei. I don't know. I feel like I gotta like literally start thinking about something else now. Usually I start learning and I forget about that email. Still going back in my brain, and to think we have to give a big ishkach to Yeshua. To think that this guy was walking around in the grocery store, and by the way, Barak watches every day. He's walking around the grocery store, and this nudge comes to him, come to the shir. He says, get out of here. Literally kicked him away, and he saw him again and again. You know how Yeshua is. That's why he's missionary number one. But he got this guy. Unbelievable. I went to Barak's bar mitzvah months ago, way before Corona. I don't know, over half a year, maybe more, before the Siyum Shas, I think. And so this guy, just schmoozing, he was reading he was reading Mishpacha magazine, the article with a guy with a lion. And I walk over to him and I said, by the way, that's me. He says, you? Whoa, it is you. And I said, Barak, he comes to the Daf Yomi. He said, you're lying. It's impossible. I know Barak for 20 years. He does not go to, he swore to me he doesn't go. We had a bet. So he goes over to Barak. He says, you go to Daf Yomi? And Barak said, yeah. He couldn't believe it. People that know Barak, the furthest thing away from Gemara. And Yeshua got him to come to the Daf. was one day, one time at the daf, and that's it. Unbelievable. All right, now I'm going to calm down. Okay. Another question asked Rabba. It says in the Mishnah in Sanhedrin, if you're Mechal Shabbos on something that if you do it inadvertently, you have to bring a carbon. And if you do it on purpose, you get skila. Miklal, so I could be medayik and say, there is something that you don't get. Now we have to come up with something. From this Mishnah, it says, if you're chayiv shchatas and a skila, meaning there's something in the world, one isur d'oraisa on Shabbos, that you're not chayiv on a shogeg chatas, but you are chayiv skila. V'lo yazdon is skila. You're not chayiv at all. Umayniu. So we must say, this is a very interesting lav de mechamer. Rabba says, look, it has to be something. What could it be possibly? We know all these surim, if you weave on Shabbos, shogeg chatos, mezid skila. So what could, if I'm a daik from the Mishnah that there's something that you don't get any einish, what is it? Loi. Again, very famous, we had it a number of times. Tchumin v'aliba de Rabba Kiva. This isser, according to most Tanaim, to walk more than 2,000 amas away from your house, according to most Tanaim, is only isser de Rabbana. Rabba Kiva is the only one who holds this isser de Raisa. Yet he holds that if you walk out of the tchum on Shabbos, you don't have to bring a carbon and you don't get skila. So you're not forced to say it's mechamer. The havara alib de Rabbi Yossi. Also, we had a big sugya in the middle of the Masechta. Why does the Torah talk about making a fire on Shabbos? Why is a fire different than all the lamites malachas? So Rabbi Yossi says is to tell us that you don't get misa, you don't bring a carbon. It's one of these funny malachas. It's different than everything else. Or the other mandama says l'chalik yatzas, l'lav yatzas. That's sugya. Top of Daf Kufnun Dal Ramadala, sponsored today by Kalman from the Five Towns, without charge. Says the Gemara. So we have what until now? Mechamer Issa Deraisa. Shoygig you bring a chatos, mezid skila, like any other Issa Deraisa. Razvid Masahachi. Razvid says differently. Same person. Omar Rami Bar Chama. It comes from Rami Bar Chama. Same individual that we had. Before is no one says this. Omar Rami Bar Chama, he himself. Yeah, and I mentioned the Keder Chagav there, that the MDY directory, but there's a guy called Yehuda Shuk in Lakewood who sits for hours and hours developing the software. Did an incredible job, unbelievable stuff, just hours. There's people from all over doing crazy things for the shir. It's part of the camaraderie, feeling part of the family. So he goes in between. There's a middle shita. That what? You don't bring a chatos if you do by mistake. However, b'mezid, you chayiv skila. Unbelievable. I do by mistake, no korban at all. I do it on purpose, death penalty. Mosav Rava, hamachal l'sashavos b'dov shechayovim al shigigosei chatos chayov azdoin skila. It says that if you mechal Shabbos on something that you chayiv a chatos, then, only then, chayav mazdain skila. In other words, they're intertwined. One is dependent on the other. If you are chayiv a carbon for doing it b'shaygig, then you are chayiv misa if you do it on purpose. I can be medayik. If there's no carbon, like in what you're saying, lav de mechamer doesn't have a carbon, but it does have skila, and chayav mazdain skila. How is it possible? Why are you telling me that you're chayiv skila? Says the Gemara, who told you to make such a deal? Mikatani ein chayavim. It doesn't say that. It says that if you're chayiv chatas, you're chayiv skila. Maybe not. Hachi kamar. Dover shechayavim as shigos chatas chayav as denikah. Right? Skila. If you're chayiv chatas for shoygeg, you're chayiv skila for mezid. Yesh dover shein chayav as shigos chatas chayav as denikah skila. But there are other things. There's lav de mechamer. There's no carbon, but Yechayev skila. Umayniu mechamer. Says the Gemara, Rava, Achua the Rav Mori bar Rochel. So, this is the famous Mori bar Rochel, right? We had him a bunch of times, all over Shas. Mori, the son of Rochel. Why not the son of whatever his father's name was? Because his father was Isur Giyora. His father was a bad guy once upon a time who captured Rachel. Who's Rachel? Rachel is Shmuel's daughter. One of those Gemaras, we had it also, we mentioned it. Shmuel was not so sensitive. When Shmuel's father said, we just brought a girl from captivity, we got to watch her, bring somebody to watch her, so nobody does anything. And Shmuel said, come on, she just came from captivity, she's been in captivity for 20 years. You're worried about that the next 5 hours something's going to happen to her? And his father told him, that shouldn't happen to your daughters. And because he said it, it just came out of his mouth, and Shmuel was punished that his own daughter was captured. And in fact, look what happened. She became pregnant from Isser Giyora, who's a guy, but he became a ger. But the whole thing. So this Mari is a product of that. He doesn't really have a father. His father is a ger. So they don't call him by his father's name. They call him by the mother's name. So who is he? Mari bar Rachel. Who's the grandchild of Shmuel, the Heilige Shmuel. And he's a famous Amoira in Shas. He says tons of things. Mari bar Rachel. Says the Gemara, and this is very interesting. And that's why a lot of people take it out. The Rishonim take it out, including Rashi Taisus, but whatever. We'll just read it because we have plenty of time here. The Rav Mari bar Rachel. And some people say that the father of Mari bar Rachel. Now there's a problem, because if you're going to tell me that Mari's father is Isru Giyora, so what business does he have in Shas? Says Gemara, Lelishna Basra Kashya. The Rav Achshari Rav Mari bar Rachel. They had to make Rav Mari bar Rachel kosher umanye b'pursai the Bavel, and they made him an officer in Bavel because a ger cannot be an officer ever. Can't be in charge of Klal Yisrael. He's a ger, a great yid, but he can't be in charge. So they said, but the son of the ger could be. So they made him an officer. So you see that his father was a ger. So what is he doing here? Says the Gemara, Dilma Trey Mari bar Rachel. According to this second shita, you're going to have to say that there's actually two people by the name of Mari bar Rachel. One of them had a good father, one of them had a bad father. Have a masni law. So bottom line is, have masni law shmaitzim shmeider Rabbi Yochanan liftur. Now we're going on to shita number 2. The lav of mechamer. Having your animal do a malach on Shabbos. Rabbi Yochanan says, Potter. Omer Rabbi Yochanan. If you look and you could cheat, you see there's a nice aleph over there. HaMechamer acher be'emta b'Shabbos. The aleph tells us that we look on the side, and that's the Shulchan Aruch. Meaning, Rambam, Perek, that's the halacha. So we paskin. That's why throughout Shas we paskin just like this. We always mention lav de mechamer, lav de mechamer. Lav de mechamer is telling us that it's not a issa deraisa like all the lamites malachas. This is its own issa called lav de mechamer. It's a lav, but you don't bring a carbon, and you don't get misa. Shalom Aleichem Stephen Perlich. Is that the way you pronounce it? Something like that. Be'erach. I don't hear you. I don't know if you could. Amir yourself. Shalom Aleichem. How are you? Thanks for the sponsorship. What?
That's how you pronounce it.
Perlich. Okay. Very good. Sometimes it's a silent T. Sometimes it's a silent. What was it? W the other day with Sokolov, Bekitzer. It's Sokolov, but in Eretz Yisrael it's Sokolov. So he made it like a half a V because he wasn't sure if he's in Israel or in America. Omer Rabbi Yochanan, Amechamer acher be'emta b'Shabbos. If you're over Amechamer, you call your animal on Shabbos, it's carrying something for you. Potter miklum. B'shoygilay mechayev chatas. You don't have to bring a carbon. Duk shekol haTorah kula v'dezar, because, as the time of the Gemara earlier, Rabba's question, it has to be la oise b'shgaga. If you do it, you have to do something, and here your animal did it. B'mezin namiloy mechayev, and you don't get misa. Why? This is not a mechaz. Shabbos v'dav shechayim al shigos chatos. So it's a beautiful diuk that Rabba had before. So it has to, it says where did it say it over there? It says mefurish. and it's a great diuk, only something that you chayiv al shigosei chatos, vazdani kares. So if I know right away that you can't bring a carbon from a chamer, then I know also that you don't get misa for it. Belav nami loy mechayev. In other words, you don't get malchus. You get a lav. Of course you get a lav. Mechamer is aser. Doiraisa. How do I know it's a doiraisa? Because it says in the pasuk, and we say it in Kiddush every Shabbos. Ata uvemtecha. It's a doiraisa. But malchus you don't get. Carbon you don't bring. Chorus you won't get. Very interesting lav. Because at the end of the day, look, you're not doing the melacha. In terms of Shabbos, which the Torah wants you, leman yenuach, you have to rest. No, so he called it. But calling is not going to cause you to get misa. This pasuk that tells you can't do melacha on Shabbos is actually telling you about misa, and not to give this guy malchus. You don't get malchus because the pasuk is not coming for the malchus part. The pasuk is coming to give us a hazara, a warning for those who are being over on the other lamitas malachas. We're turning to Daf Kufnun Dalet Amud Beis, sponsored by Shia Greenfield from Green Star Electrical Contracting in Shkoyach. And the bid war is starting for next month already. And by the way, you know what else we're bidding off? You're not going to believe this. You could be zoicha, tibi mesayim. What?
We have somebody for next month.
Oh, really? Because I spoke to you. I was sitting in your living room at 1:30 in the morning, and you didn't tell me that. But okay. But I'll tell you what we don't have yet, I think. They're bidding. We're doing a bid war on the Siyum of Masechta Shabbos. Starting bid, $10,000. Because I will not give that up for less than $10,000. But for $10,000, it could be yours. I got to tell you this, Rabba, real quick. I told Noam last night. This you're not going to believe. I went on a vacation with my wife to the safari exactly a year ago. But since then, I haven't been to a restaurant with her or to a vacation with her. And she keeps on saying, Eli, we got to go. I said, yeah, but we got the daf. Anyways, it's vacation time here in Israel, and there's no vacation for me. So I said, you know what? I don't have time for this. You just book a place. Wherever you book, I'm there. So I hear on the phone, because she's in the kitchen, I'm here all day. I hear talking, this person, nothing's available, and it's too expensive, and it's too cheap, and it's not here. Finally, she gets a place. She's all excited, and she tells me, I booked a place. I said, great, where? She says, Kesaria, I think that's where she said. Great, I'll be there. Fine. And she tells me, I'm sending them a deposit. It's gonna go bye-bye. I barely found this, send them a deposit. Great. One of her friends is Akiva. You see Akiva, that 12-year-old on the screen every day. He comes early. Here he is, top of the screen. Akiva Solway. He happened to be schmoozing with his mother. And he tells his mom all about the Siyum. And his mom tells my wife all about the Siyum. And my wife, what? She booked it on the day of the Siyum. So we're finally going on vacation. She's going by herself, Rabbi. So I'm not kidding. I can't go with her. We're finally going. Bye-bye. By herself. Nebuch. Okay, I will meet up with her. Who knows? We have to do something because I cannot go unless the whole crew comes with me and because it's a whole operation. Going to Charlie Harari and Reb Sachafran and Shmelke from Borough Park and then Fight Official from Baltimore. You have to go and come and there's going to be questions and answers. I got to make the Siyum. I got to talk, whatever, She didn't tell me what date. She just said she booked. And I didn't tell her that we're doing a Siyum because I figured, hey, we do Siyum all the time. And it's a month from now. I don't know. When is it? It's a week from now. Yeah, Sunday from this Sunday. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara, so even if you say that this Azara is telling me that there's a lav here, but the Gemara says, why is there the word ata? What you do personally on Shabbos for the lav, you're over, you get malchus. But what your animal does, yes, it's a lav, but the animal is much weaker. You don't get Malchus. Says the Gemara, "Yigia lechotzar chitzono." So, you bring your animal. You're stuck. You didn't realize. You miscalculated when Shabbos says. It took you longer than you thought. You're carrying all this baggage. What do? You put it on your donkey. You get to your house. Now what? So the Mishnah says you take whatever is not muktzah. Because it's not muktzah, I could carry it. Take it off the donkey. You don't want to leave it on the donkey. Why? As we're going to see later on in the Gemara, it's mamish tsar belachayim. Imagine a donkey with 500 pounds on it. The Gemara brings a story. Donkey dies from all the weight, dies. So you got to get it off the donkey immediately. So donkey, dinky, whatever you want to call it. I lived in Chicago for a bunch of years, so I say it interesting. Fine. Orange. Says the Gemara. So, what do you do with the muktzah stuff? You undo you untie it, let all the sacks fall to the ground. Now, glassware, I can use glassware. So it's not muktzah. See, donkey is carrying a bunch of glass. Maybe what do? There's two sacks to the two sides of the animal. I undo the center, and it falls down to the ground. But it's glass. I don't want it to break. I put a bunch of pillows. Ask the Gemara, I don't understand. Why don't they just take the sack with his hand? It's not muktzah, it's a bunch of dishes. I need to use it on Shabbos, and I'll put it to the side. What's the problem? Yeah, it's glass, very good, but there's a very disgusting kind of glass called a syringe. The syringe of the bloodletter. And the bloodletter is full of blood. You're not going to touch it on Shabbos. Bloodletting you can't do on Shabbos. Drinking from it, Hashem Yirachem, is disgusting. Muktzah machmas miyos. Even Reb Shimon might hold in this case that it's muktzah and I can't even touch it. Says the Gemara, also a sugi that we had. What about the fact that now I took a perfectly good blanket, I took a perfectly good pillow, and I can no longer use it on Shabbos? And what's wrong with mevatel kli mechanoi? What did I do? So now I can't use it on Shabbos. Says Rashi, that is soiser, that is breaking, that's destroying on Shabbos. I had a perfectly good pillow, breaking. We already discussed this earlier in the Masechta when we discussed the chickens on the pillow and the candle and all that. Mevatel kli mechanoi. Rashi over there says it's boina. We brought this sugya that he says it's soiser. Boina and soiser, two opposites. But Rashi over there says, look, I'm putting it in its place. I'm literally drilling it into the ground. I'm building it. You can't move it. Fine. Great. Says the Gemara, I'll tell you why it's not mevatel kli mechanoi. B'shlifei zutre. You're talking about very lightweight glass, and therefore it's going to hit the pillow and rest there, and then I'm going to go to the pillow and very nicely move it off the pillow. It's going to drop to the ground, not going to break, and we're good to go. What about the fact that right now it's on the pillow, and for that millisecond I couldn't move the pillow? It's muktzah, and that's mevatel kli mechanoi. Why not? Because mevatel kli mechanoi means it's there for the whole Shabbos. It's there for the duration. If in my mind I want to keep it there for 25 seconds, I'm not mevatel kli mechanoi. What's tevel? Food I cannot eat on Shabbos because I didn't take trumas and maasros. What is this food called? Muktzah. Can't touch it. Vashoshiyos in glass. So, no choice. It's muktzah. So I do the trick. I untie, let it fall, break, or whatever. Even though it breaks. Now, why, asked the Gemara, can't I use your trick of karim v'ksasais? You just said use pillows. So use pillows in this case. Why does it say you need to break your stuff? Now, again, we understand this better now because if you don't break your stuff, your animal is going to break. You don't want to break your animal. Tsar belachayim. It's better that a bunch of glass you break than killing your animal. Okay, but I have a trick. Says the Gemara, Hasam b'chulsa. You're talking about, this is interesting. I don't understand it 100%, but I guess in the time of the Gemara it's more understandable. You have very large panes of glass. No, let them fall off the donkey. What's going to happen? They'll break. Perfect. Now they're perfect size for fitting your tiny little windows. Not a big loss. Okay, the Gemara understood that breaking glass, large glass, is not a law. Not like nowadays, you break a pane of glass, throw it into the garbage. No, you can use all these pieces for different things. Great. Daikanami, diktani, dumya de tevel. It's in the same sentence as tevel. Tevel is food that's osur. Ma tevel de leichazile, avhalchanami leichazile. This is glass you can't use. A big pane of glass. What are you going to do with it? Now, you're telling me that you didn't lose anything. It just broke. So no, you'll use it. So why does it say Afa Pisha Mishtabrim? Afa Pisha Mishtabrim is telling me, even though it's going to break and you're going to have a monetary loss, let it loose, let it fall off the animal. If you don't have a monetary loss, there would be no reason to mention that it's going to break. Says the Gemara, look, anytime glass breaks, you're going to get your nice sized pieces, but you're going to get the tiny ones. Those little pieces you can't do anything with. You sweep it up before it goes into the bottom of your foot and throw it in the garbage. So there is a monetary loss. But that monetary loss, is the Gemara, Kamash Malon, that's not enough for you to touch the muktzah. Reb Shimon, Ashbi. Your animal's holding a whole bushel of tvua. Now what kind of tvua? Muktzah tvua. Why is it muktzah? It's tevel. So he does a crazy trick. He sticks his head underneath a sack full of wheat. What is that called? Kilachayad. There is no muktzah with the rest of your body, right? I'm just thinking now, we had the case that your bed is full of straw. You get into your bed and with your shoulder you start moving it, and, because muktzah with your body is not muktzah. So here, I guess, I never tried it, but I guess it's not very heavy, this wheat, straw. So with your head, you lift it up, chuck it to the other place, to the other side. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Gamliel's donkey was loaded with honey. Honey is pretty heavy. He didn't want to do all these tricks, untying, letting it fall. And in fact, his donkey died. But there's no isser at all. Honey is not muktzah. It's edible. So why can't he just take it off with his hands? Forget about menatzad. Forget about pillows. Pick it up. It's spoiled already. Hidvish my chazi. So if he's spoiled, so why is he carrying spoiled? A bunch of garbage. So leave it wherever you took it from. Why is he schlepping around spoiled honey? The chasisa the gamli. There is a usage for it. I could put it on my camel's wound. Yeah? I can only imagine if you load a camel and go through a desert, eventually the thing's going to rub back and forth. He's going to get a nasty kind of wound. You put on this old, not edible honey. And on Shabbos I can't use it. Because you can't do refu on Shabbos, not for you, not for your animal. So it's completely worthless for me on Shabbos. Muktzah, I don't want to touch it. I leave it on my donkey dies. Ask the Gemara, what's the big deal? Let him just undo it. And the sacks will fall, donkey will live. Mitzvah ziki. No? The honey is in very valuable sacks. I don't want them to rip when they fall to the ground. Interesting. I'd rather my donkey die. I guess he didn't realize he's going to die. But you could save your sacks with pillows. Not worth it. This honey is nasty. It's going to get everywhere. You ever try to get honey out of your clothing? Not a good thing. So since the honey is going to get onto my blanket, not that the problem is the laundry, the problem is the isra of mevata kli meichanai is the rabbanon. Mevata kli meichanai. Right? I think it's the rabbanon, even though it's soiser. What about tzar balachayim? What, he doesn't care about his animal? We even learned a couple days ago. You have to be compassionate to all animals, not even your own animal, other animals. To all humans, to all animals. Even humans that are animals. So this is machlokes. We don't pass like that. We pass tzar balachayim is d'oraisa, and therefore you should remove the honey from this animal that's going to die out of pain. But Gamliel himself didn't hold like that. The tzar balachayim is d'Rabbanan, and therefore he didn't want to mess around. He didn't want to touch anything, and he didn't want to bring blankets. Says the Gemara, great story. Abaya ashkechei Rabba. Abaya found Rabba. He went to visit Rabba on Shabbos. If you lived 1700 years ago, and you didn't have a slide like we have here in Mabit Shemesh, 4 stories high, so what do? Very simple. You take your kid, and you rub him against the camel's back. That's what you do. Rub him, and he's ticklish, and he starts laughing. You do it again, over and over. Even if you're a Galadar, your name is Rabba, you play with your children. That's what it says here. Play with your children. But he's using the side of the donkey on Shabbos. Omar Lei, it's always great when another Galadar comes to visit on Shabbos. There's always something. Hey, what are you doing, Rabba? It's very nice that you're playing with your child, but you're using an animal on Shabbos. Why can't you use an animal on Shabbos? Just like you're not allowed to ride an animal on Shabbos, because you might take a stick, you might break a stick off a tree, and that's called kaitzer because you need the stick. It's l'tzairech, and therefore it's mamish aser. You're going to take the stick to whack the donkey. Problem. Amalei. And now the Gemara introduces a new concept, which is going to take us down all the way into Daf Kufnun Heyom at Aleph by the Mishnah. It's Dodenheim. It's the side of the animal. It's not the top of the animal. This Isser the Rabbanan, that Rabbanan said do not ride a donkey, is on top of the donkey, not underneath the donkey, not on the side of the donkey. You hear what's going on here? It's Doden. It's the sides, literally the sides. I didn't let my kid ride. Did you notice? I didn't give a pony ride on Shabbos. Look what I did. I took him and rubbed him on the side. It was a slide here, a little slide off his stomach. Whee! Side is okay. It's Dodim. It's Dodim like Gazrubu Rabbanan. Unbelievable. It's not a loy plug. That wasn't the Xer. Xer is on top, not on the side. Minal Timra. And I'll prove to you that there's a concept called Dodim. This not it says in the Mishnah. In our Mishnah. Matur chavolim v'asakim noiflim. I untie the ropes, and everything falls down. My love. Bechever guvilki. No, regular, you have the sacks, and you just tie it in the center. Now, if I have to tie it in the center, then I have to lean over my donkey. What does leaning over my donkey mean? I am resting on the side of the donkey. Also, that's zdadim. I'm using zdadim. With zdadim like Azur Barabanan. The reason why I'm allowed to undo it, even though I'm touching my donkey, is because it's zdadim, it's the sides. Says going lie bechever aglufki, not gufki, aglufki. Okay, what's the difference? So, as we had yesterday, basically they are tied with this, the red guy in the middle. If you look closely over here, yeah, and you just do a little buckle and it falls to the side. You undo the buckle. I don't have to sit there and lean and undo a knot. Or inami belechto. Lechto we had, what daf was this? Don't remember anymore. But there's a little piece of wood that grabs the 2 circles. And if I just yank this piece of wood, then everything falls off. Or like this guy right over here. Fine. Point is, not a whole lot of work going on here. I don't have to lean on the animal. That's the point. Very interesting. Hilchas Sukkah. The halacha is, a sukkah needs 3 walls. Shnayim, ushlish is afilu tefach. 2 major walls, 3rd wall could be a tefach. So what happened was, the 3rd wall I made out of a tree. Says Gemara, Shnayim b'dei odam achas b'ilon, ksheira. I'm allowed to use it. If you're not allowed to climb up on it. Climbing up on a tree, if I have to climb up, there's also. So, my love, the chok be'ilon, the avalid zdadim. So, the Gemara, basically, we're going to be talking about 3 types of trees here. One is this picture. Didn't really have time to color it. Hope you could see it. Here's the tree right over here. Here are planks of wood etched into. You carve something out of the tree, and you put the plank of wood into the tree. You see these planks of wood go right into the tree. But what's this part of the tree? This part of the tree is called zdadim, the sides of the tree. Up here is the top of the tree. Here's the zdadim of the tree. So Gemara understands that's zdadim. And I'm putting my schach on top of these planks, and I'm putting stuff on the schach, and I'm using the schach. Zdadim asurim. And that's why I can't go on it. Loi, the kafyali ilon va'anach sikach alavei. What's happening is, I didn't notch out my tree. What I did was, I used the branches of the tree. I took tree branches, I bent them downwards, and made them part of my tree, part of my kaisel. And that's why it's also not because I etched something into the tree. If I etched something into the tree, that will be okay. It's dadim. But over here, I'm using the actual tree. I'm using this tree, and the schach is on top of my tree. So that's the top of the tree, not the side of the tree. What if you have a case of 3 walls? Now 3 walls is a completely kosher sukkah. And if the 4th wall is a tree, it's kosher. As the Gemara, but you're telling me that I used the tree, I bent it down. At the end of the day, I have the schach leaning also on top of that 4th wall. The schach is on top of this part of the tree. Velamai. So what are you going to say? Zdadin, asurin. So you're going to go back and say that we're not talking about this case, but we're talking about this case. That it's notched out into the tree, and therefore it's only tzdadim. And that what? It's asur. So then why are you allowed to use that case? Elahasam, says the Gemara, 3rd case. Bigvaza parsichna. The what? The ilan gufei doifem ba'almu d'shavye. Over here, we're not talking about he bent anything. It's a giant tree with a lot of branches and leaves, and that is my wall. In other words, the Gemara is going away from bending down a tree. Says Rashi, mishum the kibin the doiver revihu shein tzarich l'sukkah. Since it's the 4th wall and I don't need it, 3 walls is enough. So therefore, Rashi is very busy explaining why we had to come on to another type of tree, to another pshat. But basically, because it's the 4th wall and I don't need that wall, so I don't use it at all for my schach, and therefore it's not a problem. Dekanami, dektani zeh klal kol ilu shinot le'ilam b'yichol lamoid oilna b'yantov. Shma mino. I'm not using this tree at all. The schach is not dependent on it. The schach is on the other 3 walls. This just happens to be there as a 4th wall, and that's why if I could just remove the tree, I could go up on it on Yontiv. Have a wonderful Shabbos, Rabba Yisai. Motzi Shabbos, same time, 9:30. Maybe next week we'll change the time. Meanwhile, you could download this ad and bring it to your shul, or like Yossi Klein from Superior Plumbing in Muncie, put in $700 worth of these ads in his local papers. Check them out if you live in Muncie. Have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos. Share my list with Kim Kosicha Adonai. Adonai Shema B'Kalitin Azar Keshavas Kodachano. Mabnet Shmoya Adonai Mi Amoid. Chaslicha Leman Tivorei. Izani Gibson Namshi B'Dvorei Yecholti. Shila Adonai Mishum Naboike Shum Naboike. Yechai Yisrael El Adonai Kim Adonai Yechai Yisrael Ben Vidos. Uvidas Yisrael Mikol Ben Yisrael V'Chen Yisrael Nitzim Nitzim Shuvio. I forgot the kid's name. What's the kid's name? Alti Rachmiel Ben. Oh, here it is. Alti Rachmiel Ben Yocheved L'Refuah Shleima. You can all unmute, I think. I hope.
To go out for all the Muncie people, Yossi Klein and many other people don't have electricity, and they're not told from this morning until next week they're not going to have electricity. People are going away for Shabbos because the Hawaii power thing.
There will be electricity by the Siyum. Don't worry about it.
Beautiful.
Simon, like you said, you love listening to the shit while you're riding your bike. Do exercise and learn Torah at the same time. Yes, Silla, what?
I want to add something about Baruch Shech, the terrible story that you told about what happened to him in school.
Yeah.
That his sister is the Chief Justice.
I know, in New York, she's a big.
And back when I met her when she came here.
Yeah.
And back told me she was never one of the family. I believe that he has just as much potential. So it was just probably because of the way he was treated.
Yeah, his sister must be a genius if she's the Chief Justice in New York.
It just shows that he,
Yeah, no, he's very bright. Barak is very bright. Baruch Hashem. Listen, that's what we're doing. A lot of us, and I say us, start at a very late age. It's never too late. Rabbi Sai, Rabbi Sacher Friend is going to be speaking to us. It's never too late. Official Rabbi Sacher, he texted me like, I don't know, and it was 3 a.m. for us about the video. It's unbelievable. He's mamish on top of it. He got it done professionally, Baruch Hashem. It's going to be amazing. It's really going to be amazing. I'm so excited about this. It's crazy. How are we going to... Every time, we ask the same question. Every time, how do we outdo ourselves? So that time they brought a sheep into the live sheep into the Siyum, and then the buses, Hashem Yirachem. How are you going to outdo? Rabbi Sacher Friend and Charlie Harari. And 100 videos from different people from our shir. Unbelievable. How you doing, Mayor Finger? I'm going to read your email. Don't worry about it. We'll get to you. I can't hear you. Unmute.
He can't do it. You have to do it.
Really? I didn't unmute anybody yet. But okay, let me unmute him. Oh, Mayor, you're ready to go. We hear you now. Go. Shkoyach to you. It's a beautiful video. You're a Yishmaki guy, and if anybody wants a very bright young family, because Meir is married, he has a child, he's looking for a place to relocate and help the community, like a smaller place, I guess. He checked out Texas and then this and that. I don't know, official, maybe you want to bring him to Baltimore. You try out Baltimore yet? Not your speed. Okay. He's looking for a certain speed, and Eretz Yisrael is too far away from him. So check him out. What kind of speed are you looking for? You want to elaborate?
Looking for a more out-of-town community, as you say, and a place where each person matters.
Oh, you're talking about a smaller community.
Okay. People in, you're sponsoring, you're giving a full-time employment. What's the deal?
Yeah, we're looking for more people.
I thought the book already, by Olive
Listen, to come to Eretz Yisrael, you really have to have your parnasa really figured out. That's how it goes. Otherwise, Rahman Islam, a lot of people make Yerida, and that's not good. You got to figure out that part of the puzzle, and then everything else is easy. You too have a wonderful Shabbos, Yishkoyach. Be'ez Hashem, I'll get to your email. Be'ez Hashem. All right, Rabbi Isai, a wonderful Shabbos.